Good afternoon, friends. Before I start formally with the press note which I have prepared, I wish to ask one question to everyone. Is everyone getting the same quantity and quality of food which we were eating last year or year before last? And if not, then we need to understand that in our press hall, which is full of all taxpayers, most people who are tax paying and in that earning capacity, their condition is deteriorating. What must be happening to the economy of this country? And what is happening to the economy of the country is very evident as India is bracing for the next elections. We can see that the economy of the country is suffering. We have seen how rupee value vis-a-vis dollar has gone down, and it has crossed the 60:1 dollar mark. And post May 31st, there has been 5.8% value devalued of this rupee only within 2 months, from May 31st till now. The current deficit is all-time low, which is 4.8%. And this, along with all-time current deficit is high, which is 4.8%, and growth, which is 5%. And this is happening in Asia's third largest economy. This is the economic condition. And why I touched upon the food and I'm touching upon the rupee, because if we see the entire scenario, it is very, very evident that country is going through massive economic crisis. And in this condition, the status of India as an economy of the world, I'm remembered of an incident which happened when Mr. Mani Shankar Ayer was the then Panchayati Raj minister in 3rd November 2006, and he was visiting Norway. And before the Crown Prince of Norway, Haakon, he folded his hands and was begging for alms and used the word Bhavati Bhikshandehi. These are the words used by Mr. Mani Shankar Ayer. And exactly that is the situation what we are facing. And it is in this context we need to see that the pride of all self-reliant Indians is getting hurt due to the bad economic crisis. And then in this light, we must see the Congress government has failed on the governance account, on the account of managing economy, on account of various scams, and because they have indulged in this many scams that every day you pick up a brick and under this you'll find a new scam. Sometimes it's a solar scam, sometimes it is Jet Ittihad deal, sometimes people are saying even in devaluation of rupee there is a scam. Scam and scam and scams. And this government, which cannot deliver on governance issues, has chosen to polarize polity. And it is in this context we must see the Minority Affairs Minister's statement which was made yesterday, Mr. K. Rahman Khan. Mr. K. Rahman Khan made a statement that he wants a special task force dealing exclusively with the cases pertaining to minority community. We live in a country which is governed by democratic principles. We live in a country which is governed by the rule of law and which has a written constitution. A written constitution mandates that there can be no such provision in the name of a particular community. And it is in this context we must see a government which has failed to perform is polarizing communities because they have no other place to go. And it is in this context Mr. K. Rahman Khan's statement needs to be evaluated. And in evaluation, when we try and evaluate the statement, we see that a special task force to deal with all terrorist cases, I would have agreed upon. A special force to expedite judicial system, I would have agreed upon. A special task force to deal with women across board, I would have agreed upon. But no, only a particular community. And somehow, a false propaganda machinery is at its work. And false propaganda, why I'm saying this, is a movement is being built around as if people from minority community are getting victimized in this country, and in false encounters, it's only they who get encountered. Whereas if I cite NHRC figures, which I'm going to cite and I'm going to read out. In this greed for power, some congressmen are misquoting facts pertaining to encounters. NHRC data firstly shows that there are more fake encounters in Congress-ruled states. And secondly, more Hindus have been killed in fake encounters. The myth-making and perpetuating industry is compromising the societal and national interests. NHRC data suggests that out of 1,262 complaints of fake encounters received since 1993, mostly Hindus were killed. And in 2003 cases, Muslims were alleged to have been killed. This is the NHRC data. This is not BJP data. BJP is only citing the data of the highest human rights body. There are reports, and further in Northeast, several Christians too have been subject to illegal detention by this party. The BJP objects to any attempt to discriminate between Sikhs, Hindus, Christians, Muslims in terror cases and allow them to languish in jails, thereby selectively targeting a non-Muslim community. There are reports, and this is most interesting, there are reports suggesting that Mr. K. Rahman Khan and successive directors in Amarnath Cooperative Bank scam have been alleged to have been involved. The Karnataka State Minority Commission has filed a petition before the Lokayukt too. There are reports of alleged 2 lakh crores worth of scam involving encroachment and sale of Waqf properties. So much for the messiah of minority community, that he has been found allegedly to be involved in encroaching and selling Waqf board properties. And this is a report based on RBI investigation by the Minority Commission of Karnataka, and which has filed a report before the, which has filed a petition before the Lokayukt Karnataka. And in this regard, we say when Congress party's bad policies are responsible, if we look at the plight since 1947, the plight of Indian Muslims hasn't changed, and never has Congress party ever spoken about the rights of Shias, Sufis, Ahmadis, Mujahids of Pakistan, and who are subject to worse kind of persecution in that country. And even within India, several Muslim caste groups are no better in Congress regime. Congress, along with a coalition of parties, has sought to create a false sense of insecurity amongst the minorities and thereby hampered mainstreaming of all communities. And in this perspective, I wish to draw attention back to the subject, and that is a government which has failed on the issue of price rise, a government which has failed on the issue of governance, a government whose leaders have been found involved in thousands of crores of scams, worths of scams, has nothing better to discuss inner polity because they cannot go to election on any of these issues. So distort, misquote, misdirect, and build a false propagating machinery, and that needs to be brought to the attention of the public of this country. And I think time has come, whether minorities or majorities or anybody, because I don't think anybody is a minority or majority in this country. We all are participative citizens of this country. And we all learn to expose the government on issues of failure of governance and also set the rule for accountability. Even today, coal scam, we are not tracking where the money has gone. Even in Pawan Bansal, there is no track of money which was received as an initial amount. So the issue is try and divert attention to non-issues and let issues be buried. I think the issue today is when Mr. K. Rahman Khan discusses minority, the minorities should be asking him what happened to the Waqf board properties, what was his involvement, what happened to the report, whether the report was tabled or not tabled, and when is it going to be tabled, and what happened to the expeditious disposal of all such cases pending against him. Thank you.
There has been a sense of lawlessness in the state of Uttar Pradesh. One after another, rape cases are coming out, but the state government doesn't seem to be taking care of it. Is BJP going to take this issue up?
We've been repeatedly speaking on this issue, and even now we are going to take it up, because when we go to people and seek their votes on, I think law and order and governance is the issue, is the most important issue, and safety and security of women definitely is very, very essential for any society to function normally. And in this case, I can only say that as per one statement in the Legislative Assembly of Uttar Pradesh, some 1,400 odd such murders happen within a span of 2 to 3 months, and which I call secular murders, because whenever you rake up the issue of governance, secular versus communalist or communal is raked up, because they have nothing better to discuss.
This false propaganda that you are saying, the Congress has been nudging in, has it increased after the Goa conflict, after Mr. Modi's
You see, the targeting was always there. Targeting was always there. And since BJP has tried to take the strident steps of deciding on various issues and going in an election under whose leadership and all, this was bound to happen. And this is the strategy, because on the issue of governance, they can't meet him and they can't meet the standards set by him. So they are going to indulge in this kind of behavior and conduct. Through you giving the correct figures, and that is precisely my point. I want anybody to enter into a debate about the issues pertaining to minorities with me. It's a open discussion anywhere, because all those, I've shown one case, I can pick up as many cases, as many leaders who discuss the rights of minorities and have done nothing about minorities. And even today, you know, when you're discussing LET operative, you're discussing LET operative, not man, woman, gender is irrelevant. So how distortion happens is again part of a set out propaganda. And in this context, if anybody is interested in working for the welfare of, I'll say I am somebody who will say anybody in the society, but those who claim to work for the welfare of the Muslims specifically, then you should work on the issue that nobody joins hands with LET. Nobody becomes an LET operative at that young age. Instead of that, you want to rake up and divert attention and distort facts. This is the manner in which propaganda machinery functions in this country.
Yeah, Mr. Rajesh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah, you want me to forward, I'll forward it to you. It has. In fact, if you want, I'll cite just a couple of them to you. 1993, but I'll give it to you later, but I'll give it to you. 93 onwards. देखिए, उन लोगों को माफ़ी मांगनी चाहिए जो शब्दों का दुष्प्रयोग करते हैं और बातों को तोड़ते मरोड़ते हैं। अगर कोई व्यक्ति, और ख़ास तौर पे मैं उस संप्रदाय से हूँ जो कि डीप इकोलॉजी और नियो हिंदुइज़्म जैसे विषयों पर थोड़ा अध्ययन भी करते हैं और विश्वास भी रखते हैं कि अगर मानव जाति को ज़िंदा रहना है तो पशु पक्षी पेड़ सबको साथ ही रहना होगा, नहीं तो मानव जाति भी नहीं रहेगी। और ऐसे में अगर किसी जानवर की भी मृत्यु होती है तो आपको दुख होता है, तो सोचिए कि किसी इंसान की मृत्यु पर जहाँ भावनाएं जुड़ी हुई हैं उस पर कितना अधिक दुख होगा। उस बात को तोड़ मरोड़ कर फला जाति को कहा, इसको कहा, उसको कहा, ये उन लोगों की मानसिकता या मेंटल ग्रोथ या फ्रेमवर्क उनका दिखाता है, ना कि उस व्यक्ति का जिसने ये बात कही। दिवालियापन, मानसिक दिवालियापन दिखाता है। देखिए, दो विषय हैं। एक तो ये कि कोर कमेटी केवल दिग्विजय सिंह चलाते हैं, ये हमको मानना होगा, क्योंकि कोर कमेटी की मीटिंग हुई नहीं हुई, क्या निर्णय हुआ, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी तो परिवार रूपी पार्टी है, एक ही व्यक्ति तय करता है कि मुझे जाना या नहीं जाना। दूसरा विषय ये है कि जिस तरीके से देश का माहौल बदला हुआ है और लोगों में जिस तरीके से मूल्यों की वृद्धि हो रही है, रुपए की ताकत कम हो रही है, देश की संपदा लुटाई जा रही है, और तमाम ऐसे विषय हैं जो कि सुशासन से जुड़े हुए हैं, वहाँ पर जिस तरीके से ये सरकार फेल हुई है, उसके रहते वो इनको राहुल गांधी को एक्सपोज नहीं करना चाहते और उनको एक प्रोटेक्शन के रूप में, बचाने के रूप में रखना चाहते हैं। और इस कारण से वो जानते हैं कि हार का सामना करने के लिए भी हिम्मत चाहिए, जो उनमें शायद नहीं हो। मैम, ही इज कंट्रोलिंग। You know, ideally, this gentleman doesn't deserve any comment. But since you have put the question, I have to comment. And what I have to comment is that he should have remembered all this when he called Batla House encounter to be fake, when he discussed Karkare's death, when just 1 week back he was discussing whether Ishrat Jahan was an LET operative or not, and when this gentleman called Osama as Osama ji. Does he deserve any attention?
Yeah, madam, पीछे. Okay.
मैं सिर्फ ये कह सकती हूँ कि इनके इस बयानबाजी का कायदे से इनको जो अटेंशन सीकिंग की बीमारी है, उसके रहते हमें इनके प्रश्नों के जवाब देना बनता नहीं है। लेकिन चूंकि आप लोगों ने ये प्रश्न उठाया है तो मैं उसका उत्तर भी दूंगी कि ये वो व्यक्ति हैं जिन्होंने बाटला हाउस एनकाउंटर को फेक एनकाउंटर बताया था, जो करकरे की मृत्यु पर भी कुछ और नई कहानी घड़ने की कोशिश की थी, और एक हफ्ता पहले इशरत जहान को लेकर भी तमाशा किया था कि वो LET ऑपरेटिव है या नहीं है, और IB की रिपोर्ट्स गलत हैं। और ये वही व्यक्ति हैं जिन्होंने ओसामा को ओसामा जी कह के एड्रेस किया था। तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि इनकी बातों का कोई जवाब देना बनता है।
राधिका,
No, I have the interview with me. I have the entire interview. It was not in that context. The context about 2002, which I'm open to any question on that. That if you're a chief minister of a state, what are you supposed to do? If a house is on fire, you would try and work towards subduing the fire. And you did everything under your control. Used water cannons, called up the fire brigade, did whatever was necessary. And in this context, I want for everybody's consumption, out of 25 districts in Gujarat, only 7 districts were affected. That means I tried to subdue the fire, that it doesn't reach other reaches and minimize the damage. Around that time, there were 10th and 12th board exams happening in March. We all know March and April. And those exams were conducted. Though there was an attempt by various NGOs going to High Court and saying no exams should be conducted, which were thrown, those petitions were thrown out of the court. The gentleman called Qutubuddin Ansari, whose picture with folded hands is today reminiscence of, and reminds everyone of the riots. But in fact, this is the person who was saved by the Gujarat police and has been telling everyone, please don't use my picture for riots, because I was thanking the Gujarat police because I was saved. In Gulbarg society, much has been made out of what Zakia Jafri's statement. In that particular Gulbarg society case, it was May Singh Chaudhary who was the Congress corporator who led the mob, and Zakia Jafri's first statement to the police in 2002 and subsequently in 2004 to Nanavati Commission was, had it not been for Gujarat police driving us out of that spot in police vans, we would not have survived. And 2006, the lady gets in, or others, I won't blame her because she's a sufferer anyways, but others who are getting benefit out of, a business out of riots, are the ones who get in touch with her, and the statement changes in 2006, contrary to every other family member. And there is a case regarding Gulbarg society that how an NGO misused the funds which were collected for Gulbarg society. So there is many layered, and I won't even go back to what happened when 59 charred bodies of young men, women, old people and children was found in Godhara train. And that particular train burning happened, I would say, not by Muslims. They were Muslims later, but they were Congress workers first. It was a very well-planned strategy under which all this happened. A mayor, Nisar Bapu of Vadodara, was involved in riots. Mohammad Surti was again a Congress minister, fisheries minister, who was responsible for bomb blasts of Surat. There's so much. I mean, as a chief minister, what could you do? It was 28th February. You called the army within 24 hours. 70,000 policemen arrested, 1 lakh people. Rehabilitation of Gujarat, 6,500 crore was spent. Compare it with today, what happened in 2012 in Assam. And in Assam, 300 crore package was given by the central government. Not even 100 crore has reached Assam. And look at the way in shelters, the kind of shelters they are living in. And look at what happened in Gujarat and what Gujarat went through and how it changed the lives of people. And that is why even in constituencies which have 70 to 90% of Muslim population, BJP has won those seats. So as a chief minister, you did whatever you could. But you can save 100% in an accident. I'm not very sure about it. And nobody is fixing accountability on the Congress party in whose regime, in whose rule maximum riots have happened in this country from 47 onwards. The history of riots in this country, the history of encounters in this country is the history of Congress party.
After the court saying that the MP MLAs in prisons cannot continue, the Samajwadi Party is also set to take Bhavati also giving a party briefly. Ma'am, but not him, but his wife this time saying, so ma'am, what do you say about that party is once again taking 10 people?
I'll deal with this question as the last question. You see, the context in which this particular judgment has come, especially Mukhtar Ansari and another gentleman, Shahabuddin and one more person, the applicability of the law or interpretation of the law in those cases seems to be correct. But I'm somebody who has known the history otherwise. I have lived in an atmosphere and I have been, inherited a few things where my own family members have contested elections while they were in jail. My own father-in-law contested election while he was put behind bars during emergency. George Fernandez contested election from the jail. 10 other CPI people contested election in 1952 from the jail. So how political workers are put behind bars by misusing the law, and if this becomes the law, then we know how, all those things which happened during emergency will happen under the law. So that is a dangerous trend. And we need to, while on one side, the intention seems to be correct and good on applying law to people like Mukhtar Ansari, who are known criminals, and Shahabuddins, while in the light of the political workers, how law can be misused will actually be a stumbling block for establishing the rule of law and democratic process. So we need a broader thinking on these subjects, because we will be legitimizing all that was wrong during emergency. So I look at it from a different perspective altogether, and as a distortion in thinking. Thank you very much. BJP run states already have a better model of food security bill and act actually. We have Chhattisgarh model to be followed, and I think and that is where the Congress has run away from the discussion, because they would not have been able to meet it logically. They would not have been able to meet either the expenses part, which we discussed, the economic condition of the country, and we go back to Bhavati Bhikshandehi, and there is no money. The second aspect, a PDS system which has existed in this country ever since, has actually become a scam of sorts, which is functioning perfectly in states like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat. So we are following our own models of food security, and which are far established and in fact approved models by the Supreme Court. And this is the very government which 2 years ago, when was told by the Supreme Court to start distributing grains, refused to distribute grains and chose to sell it to the breweries, is very concerned today about the food security. And why should country after such a long time need food security where there is no grain security or security of the farmers? And they are responsible for all these conditions that country is going through. For poverty, for dearth of food, for suicide of farmers, price rise, making everybody's life miserable. देखिए अब वही पहला प्रश्न जो आपका था कि राहुल गांधी को क्यों अनाउंस नहीं किया, उसी पे जाइए ना, एक ही परिवार तय करेगा। अब उस पर भी कोई लिटिगेशन होनी चाहिए और कोर्ट को उस पर निर्णय लेना चाहिए कि एक परिवार के नाम पे सब की सब संपदा कैसे ट्रांसफ़र हुए जा रही है, मतलब टेक्निकली भी, फॉर्मली भी, लिटरली भी, कि सब योजना एक ही परिवार चला रहा है और बाकी देश में किसी का कोई योगदान ही नहीं है। थैंक यू।